Good morning, Facebook. I am back, part of the 21-day challenge, showing up live most of the days as much as I can, Monday through Friday. Hope you guys are doing well. I am sitting here on a cold morning in Pittsburgh. It's Thursday, and I want to talk about probably one of my favorite topics. It's a topic and a concept that ultimately changed my life dramatically, and something I want to share with you. Ron Miller, man, what an honor to have Ron Miller on here. If you guys are in the PT world and you want to have a cash practice, you have to go look at Ron Miller. You have to go find him, reach out to him, join the Cash Based Forum PT 101 group. I really want to talk about today the difference between being a CEO, a technician, and being a Rainmaker. And if you are not familiar with a guy named Russell Brunson, I highly recommend that you look up Russell Brunson. Type in Google Russell Brunson Rainmaker episode. Highly worth your time. I'm going to do a poor job butchering his amazingness and what he said. Hey, Karen. Hey, John. Hey, Herrera. Karen, thanks for hopping on. He did a great job of explaining and breaking this down, and I will probably butcher a little bit of it, but I think it's so important that we talk about this, especially if you're in the physical therapy world. Hey, Shannon, if you're in the PT world, if you're in the medical world, we need to talk about what school is training us to be and why that's not going to help us in terms of reaching financial freedom. And in a time when student loan debt is just rocking so many people's lives and holding them back from moving forward financially, we need to address this. We need to be open about it. We need to talk about it. And Karen, so happy you're here. So I want to break this down. The very first thing is, what are the differences between a CEO, a technician, and a Rainmaker? Okay. So first off, you have a CEO. A CEO is the person who has the vision, the idea. They're the one who wants to create the business, right? And even if you are a PT and you work at a hospital, hey, John, if you're at a hospital, if you're in an outpatient clinic, if you're in an inpatient clinic, if you work for a SNF, if you work for a home health contracting company, someone had to start a business, right? And we look at businesses and we think that, having jobs with businesses is a safe play. I'll tell you my story about how that's not exactly true. Hey, Alex, and how what we might think is safe, working for one of these big companies, big corporations, that will have a job that's protected, right? But jobs come from businesses. And so a CEO is someone who starts a business, who has a vision. Russell describes it in his podcast episode a lot about the person who takes the business idea to the marketplace and promotes it and shares the story. They are the one who's essentially the hype show. They're the one who spreads the message, the vision, right? So for our business, Alex and I at Healthy Funnel, right? It's teaching you the skills to learn how to market online to control your business. Like, that's the vision we have, because ultimately we don't want people to have to work for corporate healthcare if they don't want to. There's nothing wrong with working for corporate healthcare. There are plenty of great companies out there, but for us and what we feel and our passion, my passion is, if you don't want to do that, I want to give you the tools so you can go not do that you can go work on your own and not have to work for corporate healthcare. That's my mission. That's my message as a CEO of our company. Alex and I, we don't even have titles, but essentially co-CEOs, is to go out to the marketplace to tell people what our mission is, what our message is. And ultimately, we build a business around that. We learn from the feedback of the market, and we create products and services around that. That's what a CEO does in layman's terms, right? There could be a lot more definitions, but in layman's terms, that's what a CEO does. You have a CEO, and then a CEO has to hire technicians. And technicians are the ones who fulfill services. So in this case, as physical therapists, we are technicians. We are technicians of a healthcare service. In this case, it means that we actually provide physical therapy services. So, for example, school trains us to be technicians. They don't train us to go out and share our message, to start a business, to be out into the marketplace sharing our message. We get taught in school, most schools, hey Sarah, hey Saeed, we get taught how to do a technical thing, how to do a technical skill. And it's a really important skill and really valuable skill, and a skill that has the potential to change people's lives. And it's a very important skill. However, in the current model that we live in, right, that technical skill has a price, and that price is set by an insurance company outside of what we do. Regardless of the value we bring, it's dictated by someone else. And ultimately, if you are a technician, you don't control how much you make. You don't control how much income you make until you branch out of that and eventually make your way into a CEO. So school trains us to be technicians, which is why we're seeing such income issues, right? And ultimately, it's decided by a third party. We'll get into the different ways of how we get around this, but ultimately, it's a mindset that we have to have. Are we training our students to be technicians, or are we training them to have CEO mindsets? And I would argue, being a recent grad, I graduated 2 years ago from PT school, I quickly realized that I was being trained to have a technician mindset. And I was going to work for someone else to provide a technical service, and I got paid for the results of, and not even the results, I got paid for my time providing that technical service. Key difference. I didn't get paid for the value that I provided with that technical service. I got paid for the time that I used that technical service, technical skill, with a group of people. If you look at that model, for example, as a technician, in this case, in the current healthcare model, the better technician I am, the better I am at that skill does not correlate at all to my compensation. What does that lead to? Ultimately, what is that going to lead to? It says, imagine a basketball player, a pro athlete who works endlessly at their craft to get better. And when it comes to payday, they say, you know what? You're just playing basketball. All basketball gets paid at a certain level. You put in the same amount of time with basketball skills as everyone else, you get paid the same amount. How does that incentivize people to provide better skills, to get better at their skill, right? The argument is, well, it's for the patients. It's for the people, right? Well, I'm going to throw out a counter argument and say that we're humans. And humans are able to provide a quality service, and even more quality service, higher quality service, when they value themselves, when they internally feel appreciated. We know that there are certain human desires that we have. And one of them is to feel appreciated, to feel loved, to feel respect, to feel self-respect. And if we don't have that, and you have these kids coming out of school with $100,000. I came out of PT school, I didn't even have an undergraduate student loan debt. Out of PT school with $150,000 in student loan debt. And we look at the situation and say, hey, be a technician, you get paid for your time. Well, how do we make more money in that case? We have to give more time. At what point can we expect kids to just give more and more time? I'm calling kids, but people, all of us. How can we expect for the only way to solve that problem is more time? And you see the downstream effects. We see it everywhere, right? You see the downstream effects of people waiting longer to get married, people waiting longer to have kids, people waiting longer to buy houses, right? I would love to buy a house right now. I'm 32 years old. I'd love to buy a house. With my student loan debt, there is no way I'm taking that risk right now. There's no way I'm taking that risk. I would love to pump money into the local economy more than I am. Guys, my student loan bill to pay off in 20 years, fixed, like on a fixed rate, if I wanted to pay it off in 20 years, my monthly student loan bill is $1,100 a month. Imagine if even half of that I could put back into the local economy, if I could put back into savings, right? And why that's so important to me is that we can't do that at a technician role because we get paid on time. And the only way that I can do that is if I put in more time. At what point can I just say I can't put in more time? We can't do it. We just can't put in more time. When you're asking a human being to be happy and healthy, you can't ask them to sacrifice everything. And I know there's a whole, culture right now of go hustle hard. And there might be a counter argument. You're a millennial. You need to work harder. Look, I totally respect all sides of that. The reality is we look at humans, and all humans have to have some type of structure of balance and hope. And when you don't see that hope, you see the burnout that's happening, right? And so we see all these technicians that are feeling frustrated. They don't see a way out. And guess what? The only way that we have out of it in a corporate setting, Tanya says she's over the hustle culture. The only way we have out of it is in a corporate system is become a director. And guess what you do as a director? You start doing less of the technical thing that you really enjoy doing. And so there's another consequence of that. I'm not saying there's a perfect setting. So I want to talk to you, that's CEO and that's technician, right? So CEO, again, that's the person who starts the business. They go out, they share the message, the mission, and they're the ones who take it to the marketplace and say, here's the new thing that we can provide. Here's the new opportunity that we can give to you. The technician is the one who provides the technical service that the CEO pulls people in and says, hey, we can solve the problem with technical things. The technician says, yep, I can do that with my time. I can solve a technical problem. Those are the CEO and technician role, right? There's also another role, which is called the Rainmaker. And why I'm so passionate about this is because I think that for all of us who are starting out, that maybe we don't feel like we could be the CEO right away, that maybe we don't feel like we have the mission or the message, but we also see the frustration of being the technician. And that's where the position of a Rainmaker comes in. In this case, Rainmaker, yes, it means like financially to make it rain or to bring in more income. But what it really means is you are the person who brings business to the CEO so that the technicians can do the job. So what that means is, how are you, let's look at it this way. Russell breaks it down really, really well. Hey, hey, Shonda, thanks so much for hopping on. Russell breaks it down really, really well in that if you are the person who controls the flow of business coming in to the CEO, right? So the CEO's out there sharing the message, the mission, right? He's out there. But of course, if you're the CEO, you've got thousands of thoughts on your mind, right? If you've ever met the owner of a business, a lot of them are very distracted, including myself at times. There's just so many, what do I want to say, like flashing lights out there, all these bright things that we could go look at, we could do, we could test, we could go blah, 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 blah. And all of a sudden, we haven't been able to focus on the one thing that we need, which is revenue driving stuff, which is more people coming into our business, right? For our technicians to have people to provide the technical service. So what I recommend, Karen's is a generator, right? You're a business generator. And why I'm passionate about this is what I do now, other than being a consultant, this has allowed me to leave physical therapy. So if you're really interested, I just love sharing this because it's a way out if you want a way out, or a way to improve your income at the current job where you're being a technician, right? So what's the main problem that most businesses face? It's getting more customers, getting more clients, or getting more people to buy their product or need the technical service that you provide. So what you want to learn is, how can I be the person who brings business to a CEO who then pays me for that, so their technicians can do the technical skills, right? So this means you don't have the responsibility of the mission of the message, that you don't have the responsibility of, writing checks to people at the end of the day. What you get paid to do is bring a group of people who may not be aware of the problem, or may not be aware that there's a solution to the problem, and they are aware of the problem, and you bring them to the CEO and you introduce them. And the CEO in this case could be just the company in general, not necessarily just the person. You don't have to go call the CEO every time. But bring them to the business so that people are interested, then the technicians can provide the technical service. So what I highly, highly recommend is, in today's world, your ability to be the person who is a Rainmaker has never been more feasible, using the internet, using all the resources that we have. So for example, the skills that I would say that you want to start learning right now, if you're not ready to be a CEO and you're tired of being a technician, maybe you love where you work and you don't want to leave there, right? How can you spend time to bring business to your business, right? To your business or to another business, and get paid to do that, right? People will pay a lot of money if you bring business to them, because ultimately their business depends on how many new people are buying their products or services, or how much they can get of value from each individual customer. So I want you to think about, what could I do to increase the number of people or consumers to a business or our own company? And when you do that, you control your ability to ask for more money. And ultimately, I care about money because I don't usually like money. But what I've learned is that money is a tool, and we need to educate our students how to understand money. And money is a tool that drives our ability to have time and to have freedom in today's world, in today's society. So for me, it's, how do I teach you how to make more money, or potential skills that can give you more money that controls your ability to leave a job, or say, hey, I don't want to work as often, or I don't want to see as many patients because I can spend time bringing business into our business. So what are some of these skills that you could do as a Rainmaker, right? So the very first thing is be a great communicator. You want to be able to get out there to the community and talk to people. So as much as I love the internet and being online, there's nothing like getting out in front of the community and talking to people and letting people know about a product or a service, right? Now the best way, the way not to do this is just go shout your product and service. It'll work and it can work and you'll get some results. The best way is to get to know people, build relationships. But what I would say is, if you're sitting there right now, you're a student, you're facing student loan debt. If you're a new grad, if you're an older grad, and money is a hard thing you feel like money is hard to come by, and you're running your own business, and you're like, man, it's going slow, or you're running your own business, and you're like, I got to figure it out. When you become the CEO, you are no longer a technician. This is what I see is really, really hard for so many of my physical therapy friends out there who are clinicians, who want to start their own business, and they want the technical thing to drive their business. Ultimately, a technical skill doesn't drive a business. For example, a surgeon relies on a hospital to get patients, and surgeons have implanted themselves in hospitals because that's where people are. And they have a steady flow of people coming in, right? Now, there's a whole lot of reasons for that. There's a whole lot of reasons for that and why that works that way. But ultimately, if you are a PT, if you're a healthcare provider, you want to start your own thing, the moment you do that, you are no longer a technician and you can no longer act like a technician. You can no longer say that I'm just going to get really good at providing that technical skill and the rest will follow. Now, has that ever happened before? Sure. Has it ever panned out for people? Yeah, I'm sure it has. Is it realistic most of the time? Not at all. You are now a CEO, and you are your own Rainmaker in this case, which means that your business, your ability to provide that technical thing, which you love to do, which you know you're really great at, depends on your ability to be your own Rainmaker and be your own CEO. When you are the sole business owner, you are both, right? Actually, you're all three, but you are both. So what you need to do is you need to focus first on how do I get people into my world. I promise you that 90+% of you that are out there right now that have your own clinic, that are starting it or thinking about it, you know enough of the technical skill. You went to school way more than anyone else. You've studied it way more than anyone else. You've practiced it more than the general public. General public, you're so much further along that your technical skill is good enough. But what's probably lacking is your ability to make it rain or to be the CEO. And you have to look at it that way. The moment you do that, the moment you decide that you're going to do your own thing, you are no longer a technician. You are no longer a technician. And the more that you try to play all three roles, the longer your business or your ability to help people and get out of the current model that so many of us are trying to get out of is going to be harder and harder and harder. Because you have to look at things as a CEO, and you have to look at it as a Rainmaker. And if you feel stuck, I can tell you the quickest way to make money and to make significant money is to make it rain for someone else if you feel stuck. What does that mean? Go learn how to do email marketing for people. Learn how to do video content for businesses. Learn how to do social media advertising campaigns. Learn how to build websites for people. Learn how to go to community events, host events in person. If you can do that, and preferably look at things that actually people spend money on. So for example, we can't look at things like a $30 product. This is where MLMs get kind of weird because it's low ticket stuff, right? It's low dollar stuff. I want you to look at like, who could I go help that has a business that generates actual income, that is selling things that is worthwhile, that if I bring them one person, it's worth $1,000+ to them, because then I can ask for $100+ for that, because that's a very fair trade. Hey, Paulson, what's going on, man? So I just wanted to talk about that today. I've got a call here with our team in 10 minutes because I can no longer be the technician. right? I can no longer be the technician in my business, so we're hiring a team slowly but surely. And we have to delegate. What are the technical things that are no longer important? Because I need to be my own rainmaker in my business. I need to be the CEO in my own business. I need to be out there sharing it to the world, sharing the mission, the message, which for me is, I don't want you to have to work for corporate healthcare if you don't want to, and I want to give you the skills to be able to do that and control your business and control your life. Because I know what it did for me, and I know the mental angst that came from it, even in a short time and through school, of what I felt. So I really, really hope, if you're out there right now, learn the skills that will help you make it rain for yourself or for another business. That's the quickest way to find financial stability, because being a CEO takes time, takes energy, takes passion. If you feel like that's overwhelming right now, don't reinvent the wheel. Find someone out there who is doing that. Say, hey, I've learned skills that can help bring you people to get in front of you that you can share your mission and message with. That's what I'd recommend. I love you guys. I care so much about this community, and I know this is not my personal profile, but I see so many people, guys. The reality is I've kept in touch with maybe 15 to 20 out of the 40 people I graduated with 2 years ago. Literally graduated December 2016, just over 2 years ago. Out of those 15 to 20, more than half, easily more than half, have already left their first job. So they were burnt out, they weren't compensated. The vast majority of the income that they make goes to paying back student loan debt. And if we're going to be ignorant of it, I just think it's ridiculous. And we need to start teaching people the skills to create the life that they want, or be able to at least have options and not just be a technician, but learn the skills to become their own CEO, how to make it rain, how to become the rainmaker. So for me, that's why this is so important. I hope you guys have an amazing, amazing Thursday. Stay warm. If you're up north, it's cold, cold, cold. You guys rock. Karen, thanks so much for hopping on. F. Scott, thanks for hopping on. Paulson, thanks for hopping on. Karen, Malone, you are awesome. I can't wait to chat with you at some point soon again. You guys have an amazing day.